over the past 23 years, so from 2000 on, the college football landscape has changed a lot. And specifically today, I'm talking about conference realignment. Teams moving conferences has never been an idea that has just come about as of right now, right? I know the college football landscape in terms of which teams are in what conference has changed a lot over the past 4 to 5 years, maybe going back a little farther to when we had another round of conference realignment when the Big East disbanded and we had all of that happen. But more recently, there have been a lot of changes to the college football landscape in terms of teams being added to the FBS level and teams already in the FBS level moving around different conferences, and it's going to continue to happen for the better part of this century. So, in case you have not really been paying attention to which teams are in which conference now, that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to be talking about conference realignment, kind of my opinion of it, and then I'm going to be giving you your conferences for the 2023 college football season. Give you a little preview on how I'm going to predict those conferences as well. If you're excited for this video and you want to see more, hey, maybe you're a college football fan, maybe you're new to the college football sport, I welcome everyone watching these videos. But if you are a college football fan, this is the channel for you. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. Like the video, comment, do whatever you need to do to help support the channel. Hey, just watching this video is one of the many ways that you are able to do that for me. Conference realignment. It's never been a new thing in college football. Teams have moved around conferences forever. You can date that all the way back since whenever. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it, but I think you guys know a couple of the more recent moves, not necessarily like recent, but I'm talking maybe a decade ago. I'm talking like Nebraska, Maryland, and Rutgers joining the Big Ten, or the Big East disbanding and having these teams go join the American Athletic or the Big 12 or the ACC or some of the other conferences that we've come to know and love today. Now, the college football landscape has continued to change, and I'm not going to sit here and address any of the rumors or anything going around about Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, Arizona State, or anything going on with the 7 teams in the ACC trying to buy out their TV rights deal. If you want more information on that, there are a lot of other channels that do a lot better job than me of covering that. Josh Pate and others that talk about that stuff way more in depth than I ever could. So I highly suggest you go give them a try if you want more depth on that. But speaking of my channel and this video here, conference realignment, I've always liked, right? Like the idea of teams moving around in conferences, it keeps it kind of fresh, you know? It keeps the college football landscape a little bit fresh, I know change is kind of a big thing around college football right now. You got a lot going on behind the scenes that you or I really have no idea about. But in terms of conference realignment, it's always been exciting, right? And it's always fun to speculate if this team were to go to this conference, how would they do? Well, we're going to get some answers this year in terms of some teams are joining new conferences and some teams next year are going to be joining new conferences as well. And they're more likely than not is going to be more to come. And right now, conference realignment used to be kind of about geography, right? Like a team in Florida wasn't suddenly going to go join the Pac-12, or a team in California wasn't going to go join the Big Ten. Foreshadowing, I know. USC, UCLA going to join the Big Ten next year. So conference realignment has changed the landscape of college football, but conference realignment has changed itself as well. So you'll notice I don't have any like fancy graphics or anything, and I've delayed this for too long, but I'm going to move to my left, I believe your right here, and I'm going to pull out an old friend, the whiteboard. Those of you that are longtime viewers of the channel remember the whiteboard back in, I believe 2021 when I used this for review videos, but the whiteboard is back, and as you'll see here, I got all 133 FBS teams. My apologies, I have a bucket full of FCS magnets, but all 133 FBS Division I college football teams are sorted out right here by their conference and then their divisions within those conferences. So without further ado, we're going to go through the conferences that have remained unchanged, the conferences that have changed, and just general things that you need to watch for conference realignment moving further in the college football landscape. So these conferences are sorting in alphabetical order, so are the teams, and within the divisions, if the conference still has any. Divisions are slowly going away. We saw, of course, the Big 12 didn't have divisions. They just added 4 new teams. We'll get to that in a second, but they still don't have divisions. The ACC just got rid of divisions. The American Athletic no longer has it. The Pac-12 got rid of them last season. You only see the Big 10, which is right up here, the MAC, the SEC, and the Sun Belt still have divisions. Apologies if you see me looking in this general direction. That's where kind of my second monitor is, so I can monitor the recording and make sure everything is going smoothly. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into some of these conferences. The ACC has remained unchanged, as well as the Big Ten. Of course, you got the Big Ten West and the Big Ten East. The MAC has remained unchanged, as well as the Mountain West, so these two conferences are the same. The Pac-12 is unchanged, although it soon will be changed next season. The SEC has not added anyone, although it too will be adding some more teams next season. And the Sun Belt just changed last year. So to catch you up to speed, the Sun Belt last year expanded from 10 teams to 14 teams. I'll move that a little closer here. They added Marshall, Old Dominion, Southern Miss, and then James Madison jumped up from the FCS level to join the FBS. They joined the Sun Belt. Also, I should have said this earlier. Apologies if you can't really see the magnets all that well. I know they're a little small, but again, trying my best to bring them closer to you guys and so that you can see all the logos, and apologies for any glares that may be on the screen. But so the Sun Belt was a conference that changed last year, but that was not the big domino wave that kind of kicked off conference realignment. In fact, if we go up to the Big 12 here, it was Oklahoma and Texas that kind of kicked off the whole conference realignment party. And they said they were going to go join the SEC. That is happening next season. But as far as what the Big 12 is adding this year, you got BYU, you got Cincinnati here, UCF, and then how could I miss Houston right up there as well. Four new teams joining the Big 12, which is now the Big 14, much like the Big 10 over here is the Big 14. But again, that's a conversation for another day. The Big 12 has added those 4 new teams. BYU came from the FBS independent land, and then Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF down there all came from the American Athletic, moving over to the Big 12. Speaking of the American Athletic, as we prop their conference in view right now, you can kind of see right there. Again, apologies, I got my microphone here. Can't really do much else. But the American Athletic added a lot of teams as well. Charlotte is a newcomer. Florida Atlantic is a newcomer, as is North Texas. Rice is also a newcomer to this conference. And then UAB and UTSA. All of those teams have joined the American Athletic this season. It was an 11-team conference last year. They lost 3 to the Big 12. They gained 6 courtesy of Conference USA. So there's your new look American Athletic conference. Maybe besides the Big 12, because I know the Power 5 is going to get watched more than the Group of 5. But this is the most changed conference in terms of number of teams for the 2023 season. Now, I said that the American Athletic got these teams courtesy of Conference USA. Well, you see Conference USA right below them down here, and yeah, it's a really small conference, but hey, it's got a lot of first-timers either in a conference or in an FBS landscape. So you got Sam Houston State. They were an FCS champion, I believe back in 2020, if I do get that correct. And then Jacksonville State, another pretty good FCS team. If you remember a couple years ago, they beat Florida State. Those 2 teams from the FCS level have jumped up to the FBS level and will be playing their first FBS season this year. Otherwise, Florida International, La Tech, Middle Tennessee, UTEP, and Western Kentucky remain in the conference from last year. And you got 2 more newcomers over here. That's Liberty and New Mexico State. Those are 2 teams that are joining a conference this year after being FBS independents from last year. Speaking of the independents, you still got 4 of them. That's Army, Notre Dame, UConn, and UMass. So those are the conference changes that you need to know about in 2023. But Nate, what do I have to worry about moving forward? Well, as I've said, Oklahoma and Texas up here, if I'm just going to take their magnets real quick. Now, I'm not saying these are the divisions they're going to be in, so I'm just going to throw them down there. But yeah, there you go. That's your new look SEC and also Big 12 for next season. I'll just do that for sake of simplicity. So that's how the conferences are going to look next year. But wait, there's more, because just this past offseason cycle, I'm going to take USC and UCLA from up here. They have stated they're going to be joining the Big Ten Conference, which was a bombshell to a lot of people. And so there you go. There's your new look at Big Ten. And subsequently, new look Pac-12. Sorry, I'm just arranging magnets because my OCD and ADHD will not let me do that. But yeah, there you go. So there is your new look conferences for 2024, right? So barring any other changes, these will be your conferences, not this season, but the season afterwards. So now we'll have two 16-team conferences. Who knows what divisions or anything will look like in there, although I've heard, especially for the Big Ten, that divisions will be going away, and I assume it'll be pretty similar for the SEC there as well. So that is all the conference realignment that we know of for certain will happen. But Nate, what are some things that are being speculated right now? Well, I'm not going to be moving any more magnets on the board. Again, these are conferences as of 2024. I'll move them back to 2023 just so you guys can kind of see what the landscape looks like for college football this upcoming season. But, okay, so there you go. The conferences are all back for 2023. But, Nate, what else can we look for? Well, again, whoops, I just destroyed the Mid-American Conference. Sorry, Mac. No hate to you at all. Maction is very fun on weekdays. Love watching me some action. I apologize to Mid-American Conference fans anywhere. Okay, so again, Oklahoma and Texas are moving, UCLA and USC are moving. Who else is being speculated to move? Well, again, there are 7 teams in the ACC that are trying to break out of their media rights deal. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that's going to cause them to move. I personally don't think the ACC is going anywhere. But again, in case you are curious, I believe the 7 teams are Clemson, Florida State. I know Miami's one, and there are a couple others in there. Again, I don't know too much of the specifics of that. All I know that it's happening, and we'll see what goes on. As far as the Pac-12, there are a lot more serious discussions about the Pac-12 possibly being folded. I'm trying to get this glare away from the screen here. There you go. There is the Pac-12. But over here, especially regarding Oregon and Washington. Now, Oregon and Washington, according to, I believe it was Brett McMurphy. Again, I'm so sorry about this glare. But Oregon and Washington supposedly have been vetted and cleared to talk with the Big Ten Conference, who are already getting UCLA and USC, could be making that an 18-team conference in the near future if talks were to go the way that most people think they would, and that is leading Oregon and Washington to the Big Ten. Otherwise, you've talked about Utah and Colorado going to the Big 12. Of course, it'd be Colorado going back to the Big 12, Arizona State. There's been a lot of talks. Oh, also, let's go to the Mountain West over here. San Diego State, Fresno State have been rumored to move. Boise State's always been one that's been interesting to talk about and theorize about, but it seems like they're staying put in the Mountain West for right now. They may go to the Pac-12, of course. But the landscape around college football is always changing, is my point. And I'm not going to be one on here. I know I just talked about the rumors with the ACC and the Pac-12, but I usually don't perpetuate any of that. My goal was to put perpetuate in a video, and I did it. But I'm not going to sit here and say oh, they're moving, they're going. That's not what I do. I wait for reports that confirmed, again, like USC, UCLA, like Oklahoma, Texas, that we know are happening. Now, it is always fun to theorize about conference realignment. And if you guys want me to do a conference realignment video on what I would set the conferences at, just as a fun thing, I may do that, but if there's not demand for it, I don't see the point. Anyways, these are your conferences for 2023. The college football landscape is only going to continue to change. Again, as I've said, these 2 teams, Oklahoma, Texas, and UCLA, USC, are moving conferences next year. But other than that, here, I'll give you guys one final look at the whiteboard at your conferences for 2023. The landscape around college football just continues to change. And who knows how much more it will change in the near future. All we know for certain is that college football is around 2 months away. Actually, that's a lie. It's around 3 months away. And all I know is that I cannot wait for the college football season to start back up. Anyway, guys, this video went a little longer than I wanted to, but that's okay. You got your conferences for 2023. I should mention how I'm going to be predicting these. So sorry, the whiteboard's back. Forgot something. It's okay. It happens. I'm going to be going through each and every conference by conference. I think I mentioned that to you guys earlier. So how predictions are going to work. We're going to start with the SEC. We're going to move on to the Big Ten. Then we're going to move on to the Pac-12. Then we're going to do the Big 12 and the ACC, and that'll wrap up Power 5s. We'll take a little break with the FBS Independents, starting with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and then we will move down the list of Group of 5 conferences. We're starting with the American Athletic, going on to the Sun Belt, then to the Mountain West, Mid-American Conference, and finally the 9 teams in Conference USA. So that's how predictions are going to work, in case you guys were wondering how that all was going to be organized. But with all of that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Conference realignment is a concept that will never leave. It'll stay in college football for as long as college football shall exist. And, again, we got some new conferences for 2023. We're about 3 months away from the season. I can't wait for the season to start already. If you guys also can't wait for the season and you want to see my predictions on every single one of the 133 FBS teams, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. I'll be uploading 2 to 3 videos every day starting on June 5th. Also, if you're not already, subscribe, but also like, comment, share, do anything you can to help support the channel. It does mean a lot to me, but most importantly of all, remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video later this week. Goodbye.